Hi, everybody. I'm Stacy Franklin with It's Your Day Weddings and Special Events, and I want to welcome you to our Wedding Wednesday chat. And so, the topic for today's discussion is wedding etiquette, what not to do when planning your wedding. As you know, we are right here at the very beginning of engagement season. We have just had our Thanksgiving holiday, and engagement season typically begins with the Thanksgiving holiday and runs through Valentine's Day. And so many of you might have gotten engaged over this Thanksgiving holiday, so congratulations to you. And so here are just a few tips on wedding etiquette and things that you don't want to do. One, if you've just gotten engaged and you're really excited about it, don't share your engagement on social media until you have had the opportunity to share it with very close family and friends. The worst thing that can happen is that, everyone sees it all plastered over Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, or whatever the case, Snapchat, whatever the case may be, and you haven't even shared it, say, with your grandmother or grandfather or favorite aunt or uncle who, you're very close to, but everyone else is seeing it, on social media, and close family and friends haven't been given a call or send a text message or something just to let them know, that this has happened and that you want them to share in your happiness and your glee and all of that. So you want to definitely let close family and friends know before you post that selfie ring or what have you on Instagram and Facebook and all the other social media outlets. So that would be number one. Number two, and this is a real big pet peeve of mine, and I talked a little bit about this um, back when I did a broadcast on invitations and what was the etiquette, to invitations and that kind of thing of addressing and what's included. And one of the things that you don't want to include in your invitations is your gift registry information. And I want to repeat that again. Do not include your gift registry information in your wedding invitation. It is fine to include that information in bridal shower invitations, wedding shower invitations. It's fine to include that information on your wedding website. And of course, word of mouth. People who are close to you know that you're going to be registered somewhere. So they're either going to give you a call, give your parents a call, bridesmaids, maid of honor, whoever. They're going to give those people a call to find out where you are registered. But I can't stress enough, it is not appropriate to include that gift registry information in your actual wedding invitation. Your wedding invitation is to invite those family members and close friends to share in your special day. It is not where you are asking for a gift. And so you may say, well, Stacy, well, how are they supposed to know? And I've seen people do that. Well, just because you've seen people do it does not make it right. And it is not. It is not appropriate. It is not etiquette. It goes against all etiquette when it comes to wedding invitations. So don't do that. For me, when I see it, it's like someone taking their fingernails and scratching them down the chalkboard. I hate when I see that. And so I always, any brides that I work with, particularly if I'm working with them early on before they've even gotten to that stage, I always tell them, do not include wedding gift registry information in your wedding invitations. It is not appropriate. It is not right. So I'll get off my bandwagon on that, but please don't do it. Just don't do it. Number three, do not forget to take care of your wedding party. They have spent time, they have spent money to be a part of your special day. So you want to make sure that you take care of them. And what I mean by that, and most people do this, I very rarely see any issues with this, because sometimes brides and grooms, they will go all out, for their wedding party. And not that you have to do that, but just make sure that you do something. So when I say something, for bridesmaids in particular, maybe it is that you take care of their jewelry that they are going to wear, on the wedding day. Maybe it is that you take care of making sure that they get their makeup done, on that day, or even their hair done. It just depends on your budget and what, you have set aside, can afford to do. But just make sure that you take care of them. On that day, if you all are going to be spending most of the day together, getting ready together, maybe it's a situation of where you have breakfast brought in, some type of catered, breakfast or brunch brought in. So while all of you are getting your hair and makeup done and getting dressed and that kind of thing, you have something to eat. Those are nice things to do. Or maybe it is that, you make sure that you have snacks and beverages, for everyone. You want to think of those little things and take care of them, because again, they have spent their time, their money to be with you on your special day. So you want to make sure that you take care of them. And thank them, for the time that they are taking to be, with you. Another one is, try very hard not to have a very long lag time between the end of the ceremony, and the beginning of the reception. A lot of times you'll have a cocktail hour, you'll have a cocktail hour in between, while the bride and groom and members of the wedding party are taking photos, after the ceremony. And you don't want to have too long of a lag time. And that's where your timeline that your wedding planner puts together will be very important, and to try and keep everything on track. So you want to, as much as possible, don't have a very long lag time, because you tend to lose guests, especially if you're traveling from one location to another. Um, you want to have some type of activities going on. In a recent wedding that I worked on, we did a photo booth. There was an open air photo booth, and so it allowed people to interact. It allowed people to see what was going on with the photo booth, and it was a lot of fun. And so they had things to munch on. They had, the bar. They had a specialty drink, and they had the photo booth going on where people could take photos. So it just kind of made it a fun event. And that 45 minutes or hour that was in between went by really quickly, while the room was being transitioned, and while the wedding party was taking their um, post ceremony photos. So you want to keep that in mind. You don't want a really long lag time, because you do stand to lose guests, and people get really anxious during that time. Another thing to consider that you don't want to do, and I know, sometimes it's based on budget, but if at all possible, don't have your guests to pay for their beverages, their alcohol. Don't have a cash bar, if at all possible. Um, if you are budget conscious about this, number one, you may make the decision not to have liquor at all. So that can save you money. Number two, you may want to think about uh, just doing a specialty drink that's available. So it's only those ingredients that are included in that specialty drink that you're having to pay for. That helps to cut costs. You may want to consider that you have a special time that the bar is going to be open. So maybe it's only during that cocktail hour that the bar is open. And then when the reception starts and with dinner, it's tea and water. I don't know, whatever, your choice may be. But you need to be creative and and how you put that together. But you really don't want to do a cash bar for your wedding reception. It's just, you don't want to have your guests to have to come out of their pocket and pay for their beverages. You may want to do just beer and wine, or you may want to do, if the venue allows, you may want to consider purchasing your own liquor to bring to the venue and have it served. So that may be a possibility as well. And these are all different ways in which you could cut cost. But if at all possible, don't have a cash bar. Don't make your guests pay, for their drinks. We're at number six. Number six. Don't forget to include meals for your vendors. So for your event planner, for your photographer, your DJ, or your band, or your videographer, all those people that are there and going to be there, that are pulling everything together for this wedding, you want to have meals set aside for them or included. But let me say this, that they need to be included in your head count for meals. A lot of times, I know for me, most times I am starting at the very beginning with you of that day. So maybe I'm starting at 9, 10 o'clock that morning or earlier, and I'm going to be there until you guys walk out at the end of the night. So again, a good 10 to 12 hour day. And your photographer and your videographer, depending on, the number of hours that you have hired them, your DJ is there for the majority of the time. So all of these vendors, they've been there with you. They're making sure that everything goes according to plan. So you really want to try your best to take care of them and include them in your meal count. Now, whether that is a prepared meal that's set aside for them to eat, earlier in the day or after all the guests have been served, whatever that case may be, you can work that out. But the bottom line is that you want to include them in your head count for meals. You really want to take care of them. And that's just the right thing to do. Number 7, you don't want to forget to greet all of your guests. One of the things that I try very hard to do is to keep the couple up on working the room and making time for that, allotting time for that during the course of the reception. So typically, after the couple has had a chance to eat a little bit, I tell them before we get into, some of the formalities of the reception program, let's say cutting the cake and, tossing the bouquet and the garter toss and all of that. Take some time to work the room and greet your guests. A lot of people don't do receiving lines anymore, but you do want to take the time to try and work the room and greet all of your guests and thank them, for coming and having little brief chats and conversations, with your guests throughout the reception. So you definitely, you want to do that. You want to greet as many of your guests as possible. So definitely keep that in mind. Definitely have your wedding planner to make sure that that is allotted in, to your time on your timeline. Number 8, and one of the final things that I have is don't forget to send out your thank you notes. Now, some people will say, oh, well, you have a year to send out your thank you notes. Don't buy into that. Get your thank you notes sent out in a timely fashion. I would even encourage you to, as you get gifts, particularly prior to the wedding, but as gifts are coming in, go ahead and send those thank you notes out. Don't get caught up in, oh, you have, all these thank you notes that you have to get sent out, after the wedding and you're behind. If you take the time that every time you get, a couple of gifts in, go ahead, sit down for 20, 30 minutes, knock out those thank you notes and get them put in the mail. After the wedding, you really shouldn't wait any more than a couple of months, 2 to 3 months, to get your wedding thank you notes out. But that whole year thing, I just think that that's not a good look at all. You don't want to do that. Um, so try and stay up on your thank you notes. Get those out in a timely fashion. And if at all possible, as gifts are coming in prior to the wedding, I think it will help you out tremendously if you would go ahead and get them out as they come in. And you will thank me, you'll remember this, and you will thank me that you took my advice, that you heeded this advice and you did it, so that it saves you a lot of time, a lot of headaches after the fact, when you probably really don't feel like you're getting all into your life now as a newlywed, and you really don't feel like doing the whole thank you notes thing. But if you can get as many of them done ahead of time, it'll save you a lot of time on the back end as well. And just as a little bonus, um, one that it comes up quite often that I hear is don't ask your guests to give up their phones, um, for the ceremony. And a lot of people, are saying, well, but I want it to be unplugged, and the only way to do that is if we take people's phones up. Well, you don't want to annoy people either, at the start of what is such a beautiful occasion, because some people really need to have their phones by their side. They may have, kids at home, or any type of situation where they need to be able to access their phone immediately. And so, in order to still have an unplugged environment, it may be that on your wedding website, you let people know that it's going to be unplugged. We're not having, technology during the ceremony. It could be that you have it on the program itself, not in the invitation, not in the invitation, but maybe it's in the program. Um, that you say that this is an unplugged ceremony. So we're asking everyone to please, turn off your technology during the ceremony. It could be that you handle that situation by having some signage as you go into the ceremony area that says this is an unplugged ceremony. And that reminds people to turn off your cell phone or turn the ringer off or what have you, so it doesn't disturb. Um, it also could be that you have your clergy, your officiant, to make an announcement prior to the start of the ceremony that this is an unplugged ceremony, and to please, silence your phones, and please silence and put away your phones, because I know a lot of couples don't want, photos of the ceremony floating around, before they've even had an opportunity to see. Now, maybe the reception is fine, but maybe they don't necessarily want, ceremony photos out there. And that's all, your preference. But I think there is a way in which you can have you can request people to put away their technology, put away their phones, silence their phones during the ceremony in particular. And I think when you do it in that way, um, people are going to abide by your request. But asking people to give up their phone, I think, is a bit much. And you don't have to go that route. So that's just a little bonus there of things not to do. Um, so again, my name is Stacy Franklin. For those who may be catching the middle of this, my name is Stacy Franklin. I am the owner and lead event planner of It's Your Day Weddings and Special Events, located in the Memphis, Tennessee area. And I just want to thank you for joining us again for Wedding Chat Wednesday, our Wedding Wednesday chat, excuse me. Just to do a quick recap, Number one, don't share your engagement on social media before you've had an opportunity to inform close family and friends. Number two, do not, and I cannot stress this enough, do not include gift registry information in your wedding invitation. I said for me, that is a big pet peeve. When I see it, it is like someone taking their fingernails and running them down the chalkboard. Don't do it. Do not do it. So don't include your gift registry information in your wedding invitation. There are other ways for people to get that information. Number three, don't forget about your wedding party. Make sure that you take care of your bridesmaids and your groomsmen. There can be little gifts and things that you provide for them. Take care of them. Number four, don't have a long lag time between the end of the ceremony and the official start of the reception. You don't want to lose your guests and having that time to just go on and on and on when you all are taking photos and that kind of thing. You lose people, you lose guests, they get anxious. So don't do that. Number five, do not have a cash bar. Don't make your guests pay for their alcoholic beverages. There are ways in which you can do this on a budget, or you can just choose not to have alcohol at all. If it really is out of your budget, if the only way to have alcohol at your reception is to ask people to pay for it, then you probably just want to do away with it at all. It is not a good look at all, just to let you know. Number six, do not forget to take care of your wedding vendors that are there during the course of the wedding and the reception. So your planner, your photographer, videographer, your DJ, your band, those people, you want to make sure that you take care of them by making sure that they have a meal. Include them in your head count for them to have a meal. Do not forget, number seven, do not forget to greet all of your guests. You want to make sure that you greet all of your guests. Make sure that this time is built into your wedding timeline so that you have the time to work the room and greet all of your guests. A lot of weddings, people don't do formal receiving lines anymore, and that's fine. But you as the couple want to make sure that you try very hard to get around and greet all of your guests during the course of the reception. Number eight, do not forget to send your thank you notes out. Try and do as many on the front end before the wedding. Finish up with those after the fact, and try and get them out within 2 to 3 months of your wedding. People tell you, oh, you have a year, you have a year. Don't do it. It's not a good look. Don't do it. Get them out as soon as you possibly can. And my bonus was, don't ask guests to give up their technology. Don't ask them to give up their phone. Some people really need to have their phones with them for whatever reasons it may be. But there are other ways in which you can ask guests to put away their technology, to silence their technology during the ceremony, or however you want to handle it. But there are other ways to do that, which I, talked about. Your officiant can make an announcement. You can put something in the program. You can have it on your wedding website that it's going to be, unplugged. Different ways to do, not in your wedding invitation, but in other ways in which you can handle that. So those are just some quick tips on what not to do, things you don't want to do as far as wedding etiquette is concerned. And I hope this is helpful, for you. As many of you are getting ready to start planning your weddings, these are some things that you want to keep in mind as you go through your wedding planning process. Just as a little bit of housekeeping, again, I am Stacy Franklin. I'm the owner and lead event planner of It's Your Day Weddings and Special Events here in the Memphis area. We are now booking for 2018 weddings and special events. So if you are in need of a wedding planner, an event planner to help you get through your process stress-free, that's what we are here to do, to help you take care of all of the details so that you can enjoy your special day. If you need help just staying on track, We do have virtual planning sessions that you can talk to us about, and we'll help you with that. We have our Jumpstart Your Wedding Planning Process, 5 things that you need to think about that you can go on our website. It's Your Day Event Planning. It's Your Day Eventplanning.com. Go there, download that. That will help you tremendously in starting your wedding planning process. And I'll walk you through those steps as well. And then we have a number of videos that are out there as well. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, so please be sure to follow us there as well. So again, thank you for taking the time to be with me today for Wedding Wednesday chat. Hope this is helpful to you. If there are other things that you want to hear about or that you want to talk about, please be sure to go to our website, send me a message on Facebook or on Instagram or on our website and let us know, or email and let us know what it is that you want some assistance with, something that you would like for us to cover or you would like for me to cover in one of these videos. I would love to hear from you. Thank you again for joining, and I look forward to our next edition of Wedding Wednesday Chat. Thank you so much, and have a great evening. Thanks.